To end the videos on multi-threading, I'll leave you with the technically correct way to update user interface components. So we learned that Java Swing has a special thread called the event dispatch thread. This thread is responsible for all of the UI updates and events. So technically, rather than directly updating UI stuff from the main thread or some other thread that we make, the better way to do it would be to utilize the event dispatch thread. However, you're not required to use it. You can certainly update UI components from the main thread or any other thread you make. However, depending on your program, this can create a race condition. A race condition is when two or more threads try to access the same object at the same time, and at least one of them is an update, which can be problematic if there's some sort of dependency. So to write that out, we'll have C, which is our single object, and then A thread, B thread. And if you remember, when we create multiple threads, we lose control over the order in which the threads are executed. So the operating system could decide to do A, B, A, B, B, A, and then on the next loop or run or whatever, it could be completely different. So this isn't always an issue, but it's an issue if you wrote your code in a way such that you expect A to operate on C before B does. So an example of when this would not be an issue, let's pretend C is some sort of constant like pi. So C is just 3.14, it's not going to change ever. So if A and B are both just reading C, there will never be a problem, because no matter which order A and B are run in, A and B will always read 3.14 from C. But let's say C is some sort of calculation result, and let's say A is the thread that computes C, and B is the thread that expects the result. So now, if we create C and assign it an initial value like 0 or something, and we expect A to perform the calculations and then B to read those results, well, the race condition's an issue because B will read 0 because we were expecting A to finish its calculations on C before B reads the result. So I know that's a little complicated, and it largely depends on exactly what your program's doing, so I can only really describe this at a high level. But the conclusion I've come to after doing more research is that there is a proper way to update the user interface components, but most likely you guys shouldn't run into an issue. But I'll show you the proper way to do it anyways. So first, this second update is just setting the frame title, and this is just directly updating the title from the main thread, not the event dispatch thread. And this method is the correct way to do it. And basically what we're doing here is we call the update method from some non-event dispatch thread. So this can be from the main thread like it is here. So we call this, it comes in with the update information, and there's a method we can call to check if the caller of this method is the event dispatch thread. So what we do is, if we're not the event dispatch thread, we use this swing utilities.invoke later, which takes a runnable. So basically what we're doing is, instead of directly doing the update ourselves from the main thread, we pass that update on to the event dispatch thread. And the event dispatch thread can have multiple events queued up, so it will add our update to the event queue, which will eventually be updated on the dispatch thread. Okay, so we call this method. If we're not the event dispatch thread, we pass on our update, and that gets queued on the event thread. And then when the event thread eventually decides to run the update, it calls our same update method, only this time when it hits the if statement, it will check if we're not the event dispatch thread, but this time we are, so it will run the else block, which will actually be the update to our user interface component.